Hey everyone, it's Samia Khan here with the Fox 10 News Now update. Joining me is John Hook. I'm so glad to see you. I haven't
Good
had
to
you
see
up
you.
here in a
I know
couple days, or week at least, I feel
Has
like.
it been a week?
I don't think I've had you this week, have I?
Not this week.
I haven't had the privilege.
I've been busy.
I know, but
I've
that's
had a
good
lot
because
going
there's
on.
a lot of news to cover.
There is a lot going on,
And
yeah.
there's a big news story out of Vegas today.
Yeah,
and that's why I have you here.
they made an arrest in that crazy road rage case up there where, the mother, 44-year-old mother, is shot and killed.
Mm-hmm.
And all this sympathy is going out. And then we learned that while she was giving her daughter a driving lesson, and she encounters this guy out on the road, they get into a confrontation. And now we find out that the mother went out with her son, who had a gun, looking for the guy who she'd gotten in a confrontation with earlier. So that broke yesterday.
Okay.
Now there's been an arrest. They found the actual shooter who shot and killed this mom, the 44-year-old mother of four.
I want to backtrack real quick. Just get this play-by-play down correctly.
Okay.
So the mom has an altercation with this suspect.
Let me start at the beginning.
Okay,
The mom is with the daughter. The daughter is underage. She's teaching her how to drive in a parking lot.
Okay.
They take it out on the street. The daughter doesn't have a learning permit, but the mom, as a lot of parents do, is trying to teach her daughter to drive. Some guy gets behind them and starts pushing them, like trying to get around them, and gets around them and then pulls up next to them in the car. And so the daughter honks a horn. She reaches over, actually, from the passenger seat. The mom at that point was driving again. Reaches over and hits the horn because she thinks this guy's being aggressive. Well, they get into this altercation on the road, and the mom gets home and says apparently gets the son, her own son, let's go find this guy in the silver car. I know. So what was originally a woman shot and killed in what was a road rage,
which seemed like, oh my God.
Now you find out, now you find out the mom kind of went looking for trouble with an armed son in the car, and there was an exchange of gunfire, they believe, between suspect and the woman's son. Now, they think the suspect fired first. Okay. But that's not totally confirmed yet.
So now this suspect
is
involved in a stand. So what happened today?
Okay, well, SWAT, if you can imagine this.
I'm going to pull up the Fox affiliate and Vegas's website now so we can maybe look for some pictures.
I'll fill you in on this. Okay. So today, SWAT teams surround this home in Las Vegas. It happens to be a block or two away from where these people live. It was their neighbor. Isn't this crazy? There you go. Arrest made in fatal road rage shooting.
I want to pull this up right now, the Fox website.
Now, we don't know if this is the gunman or somebody being taken in for questioning, but they say that there's been an arrest. Police arrested a person, which could mean he's just been arrested in connection with, may not be the shooter, but he does fit the description. Let me go back to the description of the shooter because he had hazel eyes, blonde hair, and had a V-neck shirt on. So, Tammy Myers is dead, a mother of four, 44 years old. And at first, everybody was like, this is outrageous. Somebody with a gun kills this innocent mother. But then we find out yesterday that the mom with her son went out looking for the guy they'd gotten into a confrontation with. So it gets into that whole issue of, do you invite trouble into your own world by doing this? And of course you do.
Let's pull up this photo that they have.
Well, it fits the description. Let me give you the description. Driver.
It says release this photo of the person arrested.
Right, and just because he's been arrested doesn't mean he's the actual shooter.
Right.
He may be wanted for questioning, but the description of the driver: a man in his 20s to 30s, 6 feet tall, medium build, wore a white V-neck T-shirt, and they talked about hazel eyes. So, anyway, so there you have it. But again, you get into this debate about if something happens to you out on the road, do you de-escalate it or escalate it? And at that point,
why put your life on the line like that?
Yeah, the mom should have just backed off.
I mean,
she shouldn't have been killed over this, for certain.
Now you just wonder what was her intention. I mean, if she told her son, "Let's go find this guy," and the son was armed,
when she got home,
looking for. What was she trying to do?
Was
she trying to scare someone?
When she got home after giving her 15-year-old daughter a driving lesson, she told her daughter to go into the house and wake up the girl's brother and have him get in the car. Myers' son, Brandon, 22 years old, brought a registered firearm with him. They drove back out of the neighborhood to see if she could find the man who she'd had the conflict with in the vehicle. The vehicles and persons found each other. Through the course of them finding each other, at one point Mrs. Myers was following what we consider a suspect vehicle, and then at another point they broke apart and Mrs. Myers went home. After Mrs. Myers arrived in her house in a cul-de-sac a second time and got out of the car, a gray or silver sedan pulled into the cul-de-sac and fired a volley of shots. The son returned fire, but the mom was dead.
There's the mom.
There you go. 44 years old, mother of 4. Unbelievable. But it goes to show you, we've had this here. We've actually had an innocent struck by gunfire in a road rage that was rolling near the airport on the 143.
Right.
And an innocent guy got shot because of this. Guys were exchanging gunfire out of their car, and a guy got hit. An innocent, completely innocent guy who I think was on his way to work. And that one I'll never forget that because, again, it shows you, we're in the West, and a lot of people are packing guns. And it actually happened to me in college. I had one pulled on me in college as well.
Wait,
in a car.
Can you talk to me about your experience, your
Yeah.
road rage experience?
I was in a dorm, East Apache Boulevard. It was called Ocotillo Hall, and we were coming back somewhere on a Saturday morning. And I was signaling, trying to get over in the right-hand lane. And right as I start to go, this guy cuts me off. So I did the stupid thing and flipped him off.
Oh, no.
And then we pull up to a light, and one of my roommates, Chris, he says, "Cool it, the guy's got a piece." And I said, "A piece of what?" He said, "He's got a gun." And he brandished the gun and held it up. And he didn't point it at us, but he's like, "I got a gun." And that was like, oh my God.
And you never did anything like that again, I'm assuming.
No, well, no.
Wait.
No, no.
You said "well" as if you
sometimes I get a little torqued off with idiotic drivers, I have to admit, but I try to keep it in check.
Well, that was one of the things. I don't know if it's just like exaggerated, but one of the things I did prior to moving here from LA, I did a lot of internet research. That's what you do. And a lot of the forums, one of the things they talked about when moving to Phoenix was if you get into an incident on the road where you're angry by the driver in front of you, next to you, do not
engage.
Just don't try to instigate anything.
Right.
Don't honk at them. Don't flash your high beams. Don't do that.
Well, and it never occurred to me when I got into a little bit of an altercation with this guy, and I'm in college, and this is like probably 80, 81, 82, somewhere in there. So at that time, I'm not really thinking people are going around carrying guns in their car. That didn't even occur to me.
Right.
But I learned. And being in this job, you really learn because you hear about this.
Are there any other sort of road rage instances that you've experienced that stand out? Like for me, I feel like for the most part,
I had a woman.
I've been flipped off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had a woman yesterday. We are in a merging lane, and I've got the right of way, and I went. She somehow thought she had the right of way. She's got handicap plates, and she's flipping me off, and I'm like, "Lady, get a grip. You didn't have the right of way, number one. Every other car goes and you merge."
Right.
She's thinking, well, I'm close to this car, so it's my turn. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No, we're all having to get along here. She didn't think that she had to yield to anybody.
Have you ever had a road rage incident where it's been awkward because maybe they recognized you from TV?
I hope not.
Because I would think, you've been here for how many years?
21.
People know you on the road.
Well,
it's
maybe.
Not like you're
I've got very dark tinted windows. So,
okay, well, hopefully there's that part of it then. But
I'll tell you, man, it's crazy. But that advice that you got in that chat room is very good advice.
Right,
Don't go there. Don't go there.
I've been good.
Good.
On the
Smart.
roads. Just because, and one of the other things, I mentioned it here, but it's not...
By the way, in that forum, did anybody talk about how many people or what percentage they thought were carrying firearms in their cars
I don't
in
remember.
Arizona?
I don't. This was back in October when I was doing research. I don't remember.
What kind of research were you doing?
I was doing what should I know about moving to Arizona.
Had you made the decision to come or not yet?
I had already decided
Okay, so the fact that people are toting guns in cars was not a deal breaker.
No. The decision was based solely on the job itself.
Okay.
Once I committed to that, it was like, all right, now what am I getting myself into? It's so fun. I get to hang out with you. I get to hang out with people like you and Ron.
You need to know.
The show and tell.
Yeah, this is Samia's lunch. God, it's awful.
It's called broccoli. Now that we're going to change subjects from road rage to my lunch, Here you go, guys.
That would give me eating rage right there.
It smells. You know what though? It's because there's so many days, especially in this newsroom, where there are donuts everywhere, and I just have to balance it out. Because so often, especially people in the morning, they see me drinking my Starbucks and eating a donut, and they're like, "Wow, how does she do it?" I do it because other times you guys don't see, because I don't like to brag about it. My broccoli.
There was a story the other day. I don't know if you saw this that started talking about not avoiding these kind of foods. That these fat foods are not the worst thing that you can do.
I don't think you should avoid them. I think everything you should do in moderation. That's all it is. That's life.
Including moderation?
That's a good one. That's a news anchor joke right there.
Yeah, that's right.
A guy who's moderated a lot of debates, I'm sure.
Anyway, back to this thing in Vegas. Okay,
let's
so pull that picture up.
up.
Okay, this is a scene, and this turns out when they're looking for this suspect, he turns out to be a block away. And I was thinking in the last couple of days, when are they going to arrest this guy? When are they going to find this guy, or will they? And they did. Well, we think they did. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. And so right now, we don't know if this is the guy, but this is what we're seeing here. Release the photo of the person arrested on the 19th in connection with the fatal road rage
brief
shooting.
Standoff Thursday afternoon. Police arrested this guy.
This guy looks like he's 18.
Well, fitting the description of who they thought. They said it was somebody between 20 and 30.
He doesn't even look 20 to 30.
He might not be. But, again, it's at night when this all happens, so.
Sure, and then this is the victim.
This is a mom.
I mean, but it's still a situation. Whether people may argue that she asked for it or she put herself in that situation. But that aside, a life shouldn't be lost over a road rage incident.
By the way, her husband showed up at the scene and tried to cross police lines and yelled. What did he yell? There's the animal. There's the animal. He yelled.
Today.
Yeah, when they arrested this guy. So earlier, SWAT team surrounded the home. They tried to contact this guy using a bullhorn to get him to surrender. I thought this was interesting, too. Police commented on this, and they were asked, did she ask for this? And they said something to the effect of, I wouldn't say that she went looking for trouble, but it probably wasn't the best choice.
Yeah. I mean, this wouldn't have happened had they not gone out to even seek revenge or make someone feel a little scared. Let's say, hypothetically,
you're just going to go scare the guy.
Scare someone, right. You're
Bad
angry,
idea.
You're pissed off, whatever.
Bad idea.
Anger drives you to this point.
Sure.
It's not worth it.
Well, by the time you've gotten home and you've had time
It's in the past.
Exactly. You've had time to sort it out. You're going to go grab your son, get him out of bed. He's packing a gun. Now you're going to take your son out looking for this guy. It's insane. So, but the boy, Brandon Myers, said he was trying to protect his family. Everybody can think what they have to think, the 22-year-old said. I did it for a reason, and I do it for anyone I loved. So the father said, my son's not an animal. My son is a hero in my book. There were mistakes like every one of us have made in our lives, but this particular mistake was made to keep a bigger mistake from happening, and my wife paid the ultimate price for it.
It's just so sad.
It is.
And I think at this point, anyone who's watching at home, you really just have to... I mean, if anyone at home has a crazy road rage story, I want you guys to share it with us in our YouTube comment. I'm going to actually check right now and see what chatter we've had on the internet, because I don't want to hear stories like this. You don't have to tell people stories like this.
No, exactly. I mean, people should know, and but people get into confrontations with drivers. I mean, you get into a congested situation like we have here in the Valley. You had in LA. People's nerves are frayed, and they're uptight. They've got a lot of stress in their life, and somehow behind that 2,500-pound vehicle, you feel like you're bulletproof, right? So
let me see. So Rachel Favela is watching, and she says that she's had people on the way back from Flagstaff on the 17th in the evening. They tailgate, honk constantly, and flash their high beams. I was in the slow lane going over the limit. I carry a hunting knife in my car because I'm a single mom. I also carry a knife given to me by my husband in my pocket of my heart. So Rachel's husband passed away, and so
if you're in the slow lane, I think you're doing the right thing. I mean, you want to leave ample room for people to get around you. That's a smart thing to do. Well, she shouldn't have trouble with that.
But what she's saying is that she has people basically road bullying her, and she's in the slow lane.
Have you driven that road?
Over the speed limit, the 17 coming back. Yeah, I just did it a few weeks
ago. That road is a nightmare.
I just came back on President's Day. I went and explored Montezuma's castle and Montezuma as well. Like, just decided to explore part of Arizona.
Sure.
Went up there and I was just going to bring that up. People there and people on Interstate 10 coming in from California.
Right, they're crazy.
The speed limit already says 75. They're not even okay with you going 80. That's what's crazy.
They want 80, 85.
They don't want 80. They want 90. I'm not kidding, because I've driven above the speed limit in the left lane and had that same, like, I'm in my little Volkswagen Jetta and there's a big SUV behind me, and it's like, I feel like it's just going to run over me.
And you can't do that in California because it's too crowded to get up to that kind of speed. But here, there are some stretches where you can.
It's just
right. You wouldn't go that fast to California usually because you're always going to hit traffic.
Well, I mean, in the middle of the night and like if you're doing long distances, maybe LA to San Francisco on the 5.
You're out in Bakersfield or something, sure.
Right, but actually Bakersfield's the worst place to speed. It is the only place in my life where I've ever gotten a speeding ticket because I would drive between LA and Fresno a lot, and there's so many cops in that area around Bakersfield. That's the one place I always recommend. Follow the speed limit. I mean,
really? That's a good tip.
They're
I like that.
They're very on top of it. And then you have to go back if you're going to fight the ticket. You have to go back to Kern County.
There you go. Is there anything else happening with this story in Vegas right now? Any new developments on this guy?
Let's find out. I'm going to open iNews and see if we get any updates in terms of the Associated Press. In the meantime, we can check our Fox feed out of Las Vegas, maybe their Twitter handle, and see if they have anything new, because this is the latest in terms of their website.
Okay. Well, we may not know more until they've questioned this guy.
Sure. Well, the story says it was last updated at 2:48.
Are you allowed to show this on the air, that clip, if it's from a Fox affiliate?
I don't know, because I don't know if the video that they have in it is all Fox footage or if they get it from like a sister station. That's why I tend to rely on, it's, on our Fox website.
Okay.
But I haven't gotten permission, so... in the meantime, though, I don't know if there's something new that they're saying in that article.
No, brief standoff that they had with this guy, which is interesting. You always wonder what that was about, that he wouldn't come out. Either he's scared or maybe he was calling a lawyer or who knows. But the part that is just amazing is that the home that they arrested this guy is just a block away from the victim's home. So they were neighbors. They were neighbors.
Well, I was wondering if they were near... Yeah, they might be in a neighborhood grocery store parking lot or...
This is in western Las Vegas, by the way. So, in case you know Vegas, that's...
Which I assume a lot of people here locally know Vegas.
A lot of people know it, sure. What else you got going today? While you search.
While I search in terms of news... Well, my big headlines of the day, I'm going to speak with Andrew in a little bit. He's on this animal zebra hoarding story, the former cop that was arrested today. Big news there. And then, obviously, the really unfortunate news if you're a Suns fan.
Goran Dragic traded. Yeah, good guy, really good guy, good team guy. As Jude put it, one of the nicest guys that he's ever covered. And it's really unfortunate that he's gone.
And he at a point loved being here.
Yeah.
He loved the fans.
Well, he was here. He was traded to Houston. He came back, and he's traded again. So
right.
You can understand why he'd be a little torqued off. I don't know what the Suns are going to do now going forward. One quick thing that I wanted to let you know, if you can pull up my Facebook page.
I can.
I put this out there because this has quietly gone on, and I think it's interesting that we're in the middle of this. There is the biggest UFO convention in the world happening here up at...
No way.
Yes. Scroll down and...
I'm going to...
Yeah, the largest UFO conference in the world has landed in the Valley. The International...
Has landed. That was a purple...
UFO Congress. This is amazing stuff. I mean, these people, it is a collection of the greatest in this world of UFOs and whether we've been visited. So I asked the question on my Facebook page, do you believe we've been visited? Do you believe there's life out there somewhere? And if we do make contact, do you hope it happens in your lifetime?
Oh my gosh. Are we now having a discussion about UFOs?
Well, I wanted to put it out there because this is quietly going on, and I'm talking about they've got all of these people out there. You wouldn't believe the speakers list of the guys who've
And you just posted this?
Yes, I just posted it.
Oh, like in the last hour. Let's actually check to see what people are saying. Have you even looked yet?
I have looked a little bit. I like this one. Stephen Hawking's says it's dangerous if we reach out to aliens.
And you replied.
Oh, yeah, I replied. I said to David, that's perhaps good advice. You don't know what you're getting into. I mean, I think it's one of the great unanswered questions that I hope is answered in my lifetime. I'd love to find out definitively that there's life out there. That would be the coolest thing. I'm not holding my breath that will happen before I die, but it would be cool. So this convention is going to be a trip.
Sure, why not?
This is going to be a trip.
Weird explained lights.
Unexplained lights. Happened in Phoenix in the 1990s. Yes, it did. Lights over Phoenix.
I believe no one can tell me or my 6 friends who witnessed UFO on north side of Lake Pleasant. We know what we saw. There's definitely life out on spiritual levels. Where are they at is the question. I find it pretentious of us to think we're the only ones in the universe.
That is a common response you'll get when you talk about this.
I wish we knew for sure, but I believe they're out there somewhere. I personally don't believe there's life. I mean, yeah, it's mixed opinion, but it's,
It's a great question.
It is. I mean, just the
when you get caught up in road rage and all this you dive back into the bigger existential questions, right?
What's out there?
Right.
And the fact that I didn't even know we had a convention here for that.
This thing is massive.
Where is it?
It is like a Guinness Book of World Record convention for UFO enthusiasts. It's at Weekapaw, which is Fort McDowell Casino.
Oh, so not too far.
It's out,
up north,
Scottsdale, northeast Scottsdale. Almost to Fountain Hills,
40 minutes?
From here, yes.
Yeah. All right,
yes.
Not bad.
You're getting pretty good at this.
I know. I like to drive. Well, no, I don't like to drive. I like exploring.
I thought everybody from LA hated to drive. All right, Andrew's on board. You ready to go, bud?
I'm ready to go. Right, talk about animal hoarding.
Thank you, Mr. Fun to talk to you, and love to hear from you on Facebook. So.
All right, yeah. Chime in on your thoughts on UFOs and what is the meaning of life.
Are the guys from Ancient Aliens going to be here?
Oh my gosh!
Did you ever watch that?
Are you going to start trashing the alien folks?
Ancient Alien Theorists? Don't you watch the show? I must be the only one.
What show?
Ancient Aliens on the History 2 channel.
I didn't even know that was a show.
Should watch it sometime. It's fascinating.
Can you enlighten us?
A lot of them they call them Ancient Alien Theorists.
Who are they? What's the show actually about? Aliens or?
The show's called Ancient Aliens.
I know, but what is it about?
It's about how people who have theories about how like the pyramids were built and stuff like that, and they think that aliens built them.
Okay.
You should check it out.
All right. I think on that note, I want to talk about some local stuff happening here locally, not in the universe.
Yes.
Universal news is just enough. You know what it is?
What we're talking about is something that is clearly man-made. Clearly.
Well, let's just put it this way.
Or woman-made in this case today.
Imagine if there were, let's just say hypothetically, we confirmed life outside of Earth and the world. How annoying would it be as a news reporter or anchor? To just go cover stories now.
I think it would be the most exciting time ever.
It'd be really cool, but you have to go to Pluto now and then turn around a quick package for the 5 o'clock.
Would love it. I'd be on that list to go for sure.
Isn't there a whole story about how people are signing up to go to Mars and never come back, or is it the moon? Mars or the moon?
Mars.
Yeah, that's a weird one out there. I don't know, one of many stories. So you said...
we are actually here today to talk about animal hoarding.
Yes, and actually we have this is a big...
this is a case that actually first came to our attention about a month ago.
Yeah.
The sheriff's office went to a property up in North Phoenix, south of Anthem, where it was a woman who was a former Phoenix police detective who was busted for animal hoarding. Which isn't a crime, so to speak. However, they say that some of the animals were living in filthy conditions, including zebras who were on the property, alpacas. I mean, the list goes on and on. It was like every animal you could possibly think of on the property. A month ago, they seized a bunch of the animals. However, today, they arrested her. It took them a month to get all the reports back from the vets and do all this other stuff with the investigation. But today they made the arrest. The woman is a former Phoenix police officer. She was a Phoenix police officer for 30 years and retired about 10 years ago. Maybe I think it was 2006, 2007.
What was her name?
She retired. Her name is Andrea Mickle. and she is part of a number of animal organizations in town. She's part of the Mini Horse Association, but she basically was taking in these animals, and there was just a lot more than I believe she could handle. Some of the neighbors started complaining about the smell and the animals, and the sheriff's office went out there, and what they found was pretty disturbing. I think about a month ago they seized 50 to 60 animals, including 2 zebras, which were pretty random. You don't expect to find zebras roaming around in the desert of Arizona, but she had some in the backyard. And today they released some of the video from that.
So is this when we give people the disclaimer warning? You might
it's really
be a little disturbed.
It's really disturbing.
It's kind of creepy.
They describe. So I'll just tell you what they kind of described before we take a look at it. They described going in the house and it being just covered in animal feces. You kind of always. I don't know, that image just seems so disturbing. It's, come on, covered in animal feces.
No, I know. This sounds disgusting.
I've seen the video. You're about to see the video.
I want the world to know about this. I've just asked our web producers if they can send a tweet out to this link right now, because I feel like our Twitter feed needs to see this video right now. So I just want them to specifically know how disturbing
when they say it was covered in animal feces, they're not lying. It was bad.
Right, that's not really a lie.
It was like, it's really bad. I was stunned when I watched it.
Okay.
And there are chickens in the house. There are dogs and cats in the house. You really have to watch all of it to see how many kinds of animals are in the home. But that's where the main charges are going to be coming from. Right now she's just been booked. She hasn't been officially charged yet. But they're looking at issues with shelter, not providing proper shelter for the animals. So you want to take a look?
Let's play it.
What you're going to look at first is actually video from the outside of the home. This is her backyard where they kept, alpacas, mini horses. They also had a Texas Longhorn that was just huge.
Wow.
Just a lot of animals back there. And this doesn't look too bad from the surface. The issue is how well taken care of the animals are. They're not super crowded in there. It's getting them the proper medical care and the food and the water. So you can see that's some of the dogs on the property. If we fast forward to the 3-minute mark, are you able to?
Yeah.
That's when they start to go inside the home.
Oh my gosh! Let's start from the beginning of. Okay.
There you go. So
there you go.
They're going from the backyard and into the home here. Now this was all recovered during a search warrant, so it's not like they just videotaped it and released it. This is from over a month ago when they served a search warrant on the property. That's obviously the kitchen. Not a very appetizing environment, I must say.
This video is crazy.
Pretty disturbing.
I just want to keep watching. That's what everyone wants to watch.
There's a lot to see.
I feel like we should just watch now and see the things we discover. Maybe like a play-by-play, like a sports analyst, but not. Okay, so I see an animal.
You see a cat there.
A Quaker Oats box.
You can see some of the dirt, and it's hard to tell in the video what is feces and what isn't, but there are certain spots where it's...
So this is where she lived. She lived in these conditions.
Correct.
How do you even...
Don't even try to reason with it. Who knows? But as I was saying, it's kind of hard to tell what's what on the floor, but there are sections of the home where you can clearly tell that it's covered in feces.
So how many animals were there total?
About 100 total on the property, and they seized. There's some birds. That's a pigeon.
Right.
In your home in a cage.
Right. And
at one point, this was probably a really nice house. A lot of the birds were in cages. The cats and the dogs obviously roaming around freely. From here, they will eventually make their way into what I'm assuming is a master bedroom. And that's where it looks like probably the bulk of the animals were being kept, or at least the cats and dogs. Mm-hmm. Here we go now. I think they're going into the master bedroom.
Uh-oh. This video is crazy.
Pretty disturbing.
Oh my.
Clearly that's animal feces there on the ground.
This is just... Oh my. I just added our picture-in-picture because I feel like the viewers need to realize how disgusted we almost are.
Well, this is my second or third time watching it,
so this is like...
I'm used to it. I'm used to it by now. So, but we can watch your reaction.
Oh my gosh, it's sad and it's... Wow.
Oof, I haven't seen that shot yet. Wow. That's the master bath, and the floor is just covered. Wow.
Oh, and he's so cute though. Like, oh my God. Then you just look at how it's sad. The whole situation's really sad.
It absolutely is. I think that's the key here. No one looks at this and finds it, amusing or
right.
something to laugh about. This is sad. It's clearly somebody who needs... Someone in this situation, I'm not specifically referring to anybody in particular, but in this situation, this is someone, a hoarder in this type of situation, someone who needs help, psychological help.
I want to keep watching. I can't fast forward because I want to know what the next thing is.
You shouldn't fast forward. This is, I believe now they're going into the garage.
And where this is up in Anthem?
No, this is not Anthem. This is in a county, unincorporated area south of Anthem.
Near Anthem.
Yeah. So it's kind of desert. It's called really Desert Hills. It's basically just right north of Carefree Highway.
I'm just going to go with near Anthem. Oh my.
Yeah,
Can you explain what I'm looking at?
I believe this is the garage. I'm not sure what the cage is for since nothing's in it.
Sure.
So that, I believe, is the garage, and you can see the cats and dogs in there just everywhere.
I'm going to watch with you guys again because this is just... So, what do we know about this home? It was a rant... Tell me about the property itself.
If you've been up to that area, it's the unincorporated area, so
right.
It's the county. They don't have HOAs, they don't have, every house kind of looks different. It's not your track homes or anything like that.
Right. Do they have like a lot of
large
land?
Properties. These are horse properties for the most part. And people typically have an acre or more of property, and it's not uncommon for people to have multiple animals. However, in this situation, obviously there were 100 animals, and the neighbors were complaining about the smell, the amount of animals, the care of the animals.
Sure.
And they called the sheriff's office, and when they came out, this is what they found, because this is from the original search warrant a month ago. So what the property looks like now, we don't know. And from this time until now, the suspect
oh my gosh,
wasn't...
what are we looking at? I don't even know. It all looks... What was it?
I'm not sure.
I wasn't ready for that.
Again, I think that's another bedroom. That looks like another bedroom.
Start of this.
That's a guest bath or an extra bathroom. And that looks like it's another bedroom as well. Wow.
It's interesting because this bedroom looks relatively nice compared to some of the rooms, you know?
Well, especially compared to the master bedroom, which had animals all over it.
It's just sad. Now, do we know how many people lived here?
As far as we know, just the one.
Just that woman.
Just the one.
Who used to be a Phoenix
for
police
30 years.
officer. How old is she?
I believe she's in her early 60s.
Okay. And do we know anything else about her?
No, she has nothing that would alert you to any type of situation like this. She loves animals. She's involved in a couple of animal groups. We know of one, the Arizona Mini Horse Association.
Sure.
But when we've spoken to people from the association, they tell us that, she's a wonderful, nice person, loves the animals, but none of them had been inside of her home.
So how were they alerted to this situation?
The sheriff's office?
Yeah, how did they find out?
From neighbors. Neighbors calling.
But neighbors, I'm assuming, hadn't gone into the home. Is it just neglect from the outside, exterior?
As far as I know, what people saw and what they've done to look inside, I don't know. But sure. when they call and say, hey, and that's an alpaca walking up to the camera right there. I believe it's an alpaca. Sometimes I can't tell the difference between a llama and an alpaca, but it's one of the two. And there's some of the mini horses right there. You can see them walking.
Uh-huh. I'm just checking to see what our YouTube commenters are saying. Rachel saying, none of those animals seem to be scared at all. That's not ever a good sign if the animals are lethargic and hardly running away. Like they're numb to it.
There's a turkey. I mean, normally when you hear about animal hoarding cases, you hear about someone with
so many
cats. But the difference here is you have like every kind of animal you can possibly imagine here. From an alpaca and a Texas longhorn.
It's Noah's
Ark,
okay?
It totally is.
I'm telling you, this is like...
It totally is.
I mean, maybe she was reading a passage, no, I'm kidding. But I mean, it's literally one of like, it's like
I will say this is the first time I've ever heard of someone keeping a pigeon in their home in a cage.
Right. I mean... But there's everything. We're seeing chickens, we're seeing pigs, we're seeing cats, dogs, pigeons, zebras.
Yeah, that's right. We can't forget the zebras. Two of them. 2 zebras.
Exactly, like the Ark.
Yeah.
What if there's some truth to my hypothesis? I think I just saw 2 pigs as well.
2 pigs. Oh, they're the zebras right there.
Oh,
those zebras are actually interesting backstory about the zebras. They were taken from that area.
Yeah.
Initially, the kind of most of the animals on the outside of the property weren't really seized because they weren't living in the bad. It's starting over again here.
Oh, okay.
If you want to fast forward to again the 3-minute mark, that's to the inside of the home. So a lot of the animals on the outside weren't seized at first. It was only the animals on the inside.
Uh-huh.
So the outside animals, they took the zebras. She actually took the zebras and gave them to someone who would take care of them, who had a big horse property. So she, they didn't seize them immediately. At first, the sheriff's office was like, we don't know what to do with them.
Right.
And she wasn't arrested at first. So she took the zebras and she brought them to a friend to watch them. But the sheriff said today that friend is also a supporter of the sheriff and his animal crimes programs. Oh. And so he let the sheriff's investigators, look at the horses and also help them out in all this. Just kind of an ironic twist that she thought she was bringing them to this place where they would be taken care of when they were also actually, being looked at by the sheriff's office too.
Now she was arrested today.
She was arrested today at the home.
So what happens now?
Now she was booked on about 80 counts of animal abuse.
Wow.
They're misdemeanor charges, and they mostly relate to that issue of shelter. Not providing adequate shelter for the animal.
Because they were well fed and her being well kept in that sense.
I mean, they don't look super unhealthy,
right.
The animals, but that's just us looking at the video. The vets examine them and they have their own answers for some of them. But from what we see, they seem to be well fed and for the most part, healthy. However, living in these conditions, I don't know how healthy an animal really can be.
Wow.
That again is the living area.
So is there any area of the home that was even, what I mean by, I want to say livable, but is there anywhere to sit and watch TV? Or sit and have lunch? I'm just asking, where do you even exist as a human being aside from standing?
Your guess is as good as mine. I have
it's sad.
No idea. Wow. At one point, this was a big, nice house.
Wow.
I mean, you can tell just by the look of it. Look at the high ceilings and the columns. I mean, this is a nice home.
Mm-hmm. This is crazy.
This is back into the master bedroom again. And that's where we saw most of the dogs.
Wow. I don't know what to say really about it all. It's just sad. You can hear, I mean, having this audio just gives you more of a feel for what that environment is like. And look at that, he's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, this video.
Yikes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
yikes is the right word.
That's
So
really bad.
you're on the story today.
Correct.
Now, today, 2:00, the sheriff had a press conference, and he actually spoke about all of this,
He
right?
did. Yeah, he talked about, why she's being charged, why it took so long, because this has been over a month. He talked about what's happening with a lot of the animals, and we'll have all of that at 5 o'clock. And he said...
He probably wasn't happy with this.
No, he wasn't. And, he also defended his detectives and what they're doing out there, because there are people who say, let her be if she wants. It's her property. If she wants to live this way, because there really is nothing. There are no laws preventing anyone from having a certain amount of animals.
Right, you can
or
have
living. I mean, if you want to live in animal feces, you could, which is disturbing.
You yourself, as
yes, but he was saying that cannot treat these animals this way.
No, it's a sad situation to be in. I think it's just. It's sad, and it's what makes it sadder, that the number of animal hoarding stories we end up doing.
There's plenty of
because
them.
there's so many. It's just crazy.
Absolutely.
Not crazy. It's unfortunate. I feel like. So you'll have more about this story. We'll hear from the sheriff at 5 o'clock.
Correct.
5 o'clock. All
Thank
right,
you.
Andrew. Thanks for the update. Thanks for sharing that full video.
Course.
And viewers, please comment in the YouTube chat below next to us, and please let me know what you think about what you just watched, because it was a little sad. It was a little disturbing. And now, look who I have. Jude, 2 days in a row. Busy sports week, sad sports day. Talk to me.
What do you want to know? I'll tell you anything you want to know.
Can I just say that I'm upset that I didn't go to the Suns game last week when I had the chance?
Now it's a different team.
Now it's a different team. I missed out.
Well, this was a big day. I mean, I think that, if you really want to break down this fast and furious day, I think the Phoenix Suns made a last-ditch effort to try to acquire assets.
Versus?
Yeah, and I this kind of resembles something out of a fantasy basketball league. They were in, let's just salvage some players back from what we have to deal with here, knowing that Goran Dragic, as we said yesterday, didn't want to be here anymore. But I think in the end, they put themselves back in the same position. And what I mean by that is this. Okay, let's follow this, and it's a little bit convoluted. But you traded Goran Dragic to the Miami Heat for 2 draft picks. All right, so you got rid of 1 point guard, a very good one. All right, then you traded Isaiah Thomas to the Boston Celtics, and you received a shooting guard.
The rumors are true. Isaiah Thomas is gone?
He is gone. Okay, and then...
Wait.
And then you traded Miles Plumlee and Tyler Ennis to Milwaukee as part of this 3-team deal, and you received Brandon Knight from Milwaukee in return. So what do you have here? Now, let's look at this very basic, and I'm not the best math guy, but you traded a point guard in Goran Dragic, and you received a point guard in Brandon Knight. You traded kind of a scoring guard in Isaiah Thomas, and you received a scoring guard, 2 guard, in Marcus Thornton. So in many ways, you're back to where you started. You traded guards for guards. And I think that there's an issue here because Brandon Knight, without getting too technical, he is now a restricted free agent, and he wants to get paid Eric Bledsoe. In addition, the guy that is playing point guard now, that's been paid $70 million, is Eric Bledsoe, and Brandon Knight wants to get paid that same kind of money, and he wants to play that position. So now, granted, can he play off the guard a little bit? Sure, both of those guys can, but in some ways they cycled back to where they began. Do I think that they've acquired some assets that they can later trade? Certainly. They can sign and trade at Brandon Knight. They can look at a few things. But I think they were in scramble mode. They tried to get some talent in return, and they did. But all of the talk, and I think I'm more of a big picture guy. They were the surprise team of the NBA last year, 48 wins, and now they were going to go for the playoffs this year. Now you've left Jeff Hornacek with a scrambled roster, a little bit of confusion. The players that are left in the room are sitting there going, gee, first off, one of the most respected guys, Goran Dragic, said, quote, I don't trust them anymore. Now 3 or 4 other guys have been shipped out, and now you got to try to make the playoffs. So it's a difficult situation. I will compliment them, and they got some talent back, but I think I would say it's almost like treading water. You're in the same spot, and you didn't necessarily move forward, and you're dealing with very similar issues. So, I mean, that's my short take on what was a very chaotic day.
So, my question for you is, our chance at securing that 8th seed in the NBA playoffs better yesterday or today?
More difficult today, much more difficult today. I think anytime you have a very significant, I would almost call it massive turnover in the roster, you are forcing your head coach and your coaching staff to kind of pick up the pieces, got some new chemistry.
Right.
Who's going to start now? Are you going to start Bledsoe at the point? Now you got to look at Brandon Knight. Does he start at the 2 or does Gerald Green start at the 2? Gerald Green is also a free agent coming up. Gerald Green is going to want his minutes and numbers up because he is hitting free agency. So you've inherited a lot of the same problems, but you're asking your coaching staff to sort it out. So my answer to you is no. I think that they've lessened their chances to make the playoffs. They increased their chances to do some deals in the future by at least getting a few players. But this is so uncharacteristic of this organization, which was a destination for so many decades, that it's the perception issue of the Suns is a little bit cloudy right now, to be very frank about it.
It's a tough day to be a Suns fan.
It is. Yeah, this has always been a franchise of stability, a certain degree of star power, whether it was KJ, whether it was Marley, Barkley, Amari, Nash.
Right.
There's always been that connection from these top-line players to the fan base. And I think when you have a turnover like this, your fan base is a little confused, like, okay, well, who went where and what happened? It's difficult. It is a difficult situation. It's not the most stable situation. And it's unfortunate because in many ways I think they're kind of back to square one. I'm not a purveyor of good news today, am I?
No, I'm going to pull this photo up as a sort of goodbye because we won't be seeing him in that jersey. He's
one of the nicest. There was a lot of. I'm going to tell you something that I think is unfortunate in the media world of today. There was an article on SB Nation that this guy just wants the money and the nightlife and go to a big city. I got to tell you something. This guy,
he wanted to go to L.A., New York, or Miami. Think about those cities for a second. Think about it.
Well, that's true.
Those are the fun cities.
But can I tell you this? The kid doesn't drink. He just has a newborn baby. And I've never, ever heard him going out on... I mean, I think the thing that's interesting about Goran, of the 25 years I've covered this team, he is the most humble, best family man, great guy, humble guy. And does he want to go to a place where he wants to get good dollars and play his position at point guard? Yes. Just so happened to be the Rockets were interested, the Kings were interested, Milwaukee was interested at one point. There were a lot of destinations for him. But some of the media painted him as, oh my God, he's just looking for the money and a party time. This guy doesn't party. He's about as quiet. He's kind of a guy that's going to sit down and watch Netflix on an off night or something. Are you kidding? He's a homebody, and he's a really good dude. So I just think that there was a lot of propaganda out there. He's a good dude and a guy that I think Pat Riley will embrace and try to build part of his future on in Miami.
Miami's a nice place to live, I assume.
Not the best family town, though.
Not the best family town, but you know what? Leaving Phoenix, going to New York would have been a big weather shift.
Yes, that's for sure. I mean, at least it's a warm weather city. And look, I mean, if you look at it right now, if Dwayne Wade is healthy with Chris Bosh, and now you add Goran, you've got 3 top-line players again. They can be a force in the Eastern Conference when it comes to. They'll make the playoffs
and
now.
And guess who they'll get back? LeBron.
That's right. Wouldn't that be something? No, but I would say this. I think that they're a much better team. Miami bettered themselves today with Goran Dragic.
What's another goodbye tribute? I'm just pulling them up now. Let's just look at
he played hard. I want to give Isaiah. He's a score first guard, but he is a one-on-one player that basically. I played at the high school and minuscule military and small college level. Okay, well, let me just say this. Little guys are always out to prove they can score and do one thing well, and he does a great job. The problem with Isaiah Thomas's game is he's not a guy that passes the ball. He is, I will go one-on-one, and I'm going to get my 10, 15, 18 points in a game. It just didn't fit. And I think when they acquired Isaiah Thomas, it squeezed out the game of Goran Dragic.
Which has been the issue. We were talking about this yesterday.
Yes.
And now they got rid of both of them.
Yes. And I think that it's back to when you just paid $27 million for your contract. So maybe you admitted your mistake and you said, okay, this wasn't working. I'm dealing them to the Celtics. But you can't have this herky-jerky, okay, this didn't work, let's deal them. All right, keep in mind, they traded Goran Dragic to the Rockets, brought him back, pretty much suggested to him that he'd be the cornerstone of the franchise moving forward, and now he's gone again. You have to be consistent in tagging your core players and getting them to play together for a good 4, 5, 6 years if you want to really make progress in this league. It's back to that Spurs model. Parker, Ginobili, Duncan. You got to know who those core guys are.
Popovich hasn't gone anywhere.
Yes, and you build around them. But this was a kind of a massive move type day for the Suns, and I think you have to give them a little credit in getting some assets back. But I don't see a rhyme or reason in terms of this. They need a front court player. They need a 4 or 5. Brandon Bass would have been a nice player from Boston that can give them some inside toughness, rebounding defense. But I think a lot of Suns fans are going to be scrambling to get rhyme or reason out of what happened today.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, I just checked on YouTube to see what our viewers were saying, and Rachel Favela wanted to chime in saying, Dragic is a great role model for the kids, too. This makes me as upset as when Nash was traded. Tough to keep watching Suns games.
It's tough. He was well-liked. He was really well-liked. I think fans really connected with Goran Dragic in this town. I think they watched him when he came over 7, 8 years ago as a young man from Slovenia, learn the language, play the game, be part of that Nash Amari era, and just play hard all the time and be one of the nicest guys out in the public that you'd ever want to meet. So it's an adjustment to Suns fans. You get connected. This being a big fan, you get connected to your players, and you're like, hey, that's my guy. And now he's gone.
Penny Hardaway to Phoenix
there you go.
Way back in the day.
Backcourt 2000 with Jason Kidd.
And then he got injured, but I'm saying...
He was never the same.
I know, but I followed him from Orlando. That's
well,
what we do.
You get connected emotionally to these guys, and when they're traded, it's a blow. It is a big blow.
Mm-hmm. I wish I had you up here for good news. Yesterday I had you in for some good news and some bad news. But
well, the good news, the
weather.
I have some really good news. What is it going to be, like 80 degrees today?
Are you Dave Muncy?
And pitchers and catchers report spring training starts the next few days.
Actually, there is some good news. We had some baseball players get into town.
Yes, and I think fans that are if they're connecting with us here anywhere in the Midwest or the East, they're saying, hey, I'm going to spring training in Arizona. The weather's been great.
Right.
You have an excuse now to come out here and get to all the spring training sites, of which there are many, and enjoy some great weather.
So what happened today in terms of spring training?
Well, Chip Hale addressed the media earlier today, talked to our Richard Sines, and he's kind of suggesting here's our plan for the upcoming spring training weeks ahead. He had a chance to talk to some of the pitchers like Josh Colmentor and others. This roster's been turned over quite a bit. But the beauty of spring training is, what do they call it? Hope springs eternal. Everybody's, starting fresh, and everybody has the hope of a good season. And Chip Hale's an energetic, fun guy I think fans will like. But it's spring training, and that means spring is not far along. Not far away, that's for sure.
All right. Well, thanks for leaving me on a
How
happy,
about, yeah,
positive
I wish I'd
note.
give you something poetic.
Roses
are red, spring training is here. Too bad about the Suns, and I'm out of here. Wait a minute.
You can't rhyme here and here. Although I do see some rappers out there rhyming the same words together.
Yeah, I know. That's not.
That
I need a little
good.
work. That was off the cuff. That was without any particular teleprompter
that
or
was
script.
pretty good.
We'll have more throughout the evening on Twitter, Jude Fox 10, on any other implications to what was a kind of a dramatic day for the Phoenix Suns.
So is today moving day?
Moving day
Shopping
in more ways than one.
for a new home day?
Yes.
It's a busy time.
Can you imagine? Goran and Zoran Dragic were about ready to board the team plane.
We didn't even talk about it. What happens to his brother now?
He was shipped to Miami too, by the way. It was a brother package
I don't
deal.
even know. Okay, can we repeat this deal real quick?
So Goran and Zoran go to Miami, all right, to the brothers Dragic, the Karamazov brothers. I'll bring in some literary references. Okay, the Dragic brothers go to Miami in exchange for a couple of picks. I believe it's 2017 and 2021 of the Miami Heat.
Oh, okay.
All right. Isaiah Thomas goes to the Celtics in exchange for Marcus Thornton, kind of a off-the-bench shooting guard. As part of the deal with Milwaukee, the Suns, and Boston, Miles Plumlee and Tyler Ennis go to Milwaukee, and the Bucks send a very good point guard in Brandon Knight to the Phoenix Suns.
Hold on. So here's my thing with getting first-round draft picks. I get it. It's great. It's exciting. But in ideal situations, you want to get first-round draft picks from teams that are terrible because they get early draft picks.
Excellent
observation,
now that
yes. The Miami Heat are going to be what appears to be getting better.
Yes.
Maybe even more so. Who knows what they're going to get? Who they're going to get in the offseason?
Right.
Getting a 2017 and a 2021 first draft pick. What if they win the finals?
Yeah, I think that
it's not
the teams that you're getting number one picks from are pretty good teams.
Yeah.
And by the way, the Boston pick that comes to Phoenix is Cleveland's pick, and Cleveland, as you know, is playing pretty good basketball right now. So yeah, when you hear first round pick, it's a little delusional. You have to know where those picks land.
Right.
And in many instances, they're going to be very late first round picks. So. I also think, too, and this is a great observation on your part in the sense of when you look at first-round picks, they're not tangible. Well, I think what the Suns tried to do today is at least give fans something in return that we traded Goran and Zoran to Miami for a couple of picks, but we also then dealt Isaiah, Tyler Ennis, and Miles Plumlee for Brandon Knight and Marcus Thornton, so that they can say, okay, Brandon Knight's a pretty good player.
Are we asking you? What should I be excited for?
Well, I would say this. I think Suns fans don't know enough about a Milwaukee Bucks player or even Marcus Thornton to get excited about. They're going to have to. This puts a lot of pressure on Jeff Hornacek to make this work in a very short period of time with like 28 games left in the season. It's a really difficult proposition for a team that wanted to make the playoffs this year.
All right, Jude. Well, thank you so much
Anytime.
for the update.
You got it. Sorry to
Hopefully
break the news to you.
next time I have you up here, well, it'll be
78 degrees.
Really
remember that.
All right, Jude. Thanks for the weather update. And guys, thanks so much for watching. As always, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Fox10Phoenix. That way you will stay updated on all the breaking news that we have for you right here on Fox 10 News Now, as well as chats like the one that Jude and I just had and the one that John and I had a little while earlier. We love having you chime in with your opinion via YouTube, so make sure to interact with us. We will give you your shout out on air. And that's pretty much my newscast for this afternoon. I'll be back if anything else breaks this afternoon. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.